Daniel Defoe, Robinson Crusoe, Part 49. With a turf wall raised up close to it, I perceived myself that if any people were to come on shore there, they would not perceive anything like a habitation, and it was very well I did so, as may be observed hereafter, upon a very remarkable occasion. During this time I made my rounds in the woods for game every day when the rain permitted me, and made frequent discoveries in these walks of something or other to my advantage. Particularly I found a kind of wild pigeons, which built not as wood pigeons in a tree, but rather as house pigeons in the holes of the rocks, and taking some young ones, I endeavored to breed them up tame, and did so. But when they grew older, they flew away, which perhaps was at first for want of feeding them, for I had nothing to give them. However, I frequently found their nests, and got their young ones, which were very good meat. And now, in the managing my household affairs, I found myself wanting in many things, which I thought at first it was impossible for me to make, as indeed with some of them it was. For instance, I could never make a cask to be hooped. I had a small runlet or two, as I observed before, but I could never arrive at the capacity of making one by them. Though I spent many weeks about it, I could neither put in the heads or join the staves so true to one another as to make them hold water. So I gave that also over. In the next place, I was at a great loss for candles, so that as soon as ever it was dark, which was generally by 7 o'clock, I was obliged to go to bed. I remembered the lamp of beeswax with which I made candles in my African adventure, but I had none of that now. The only remedy I had was that when I had killed the goat, I saved the tallow, and with a little dish made of clay, which I baked in the sun, to which I added a wick of some oakum, I made me a lamp, and this gave me light, though not a clear, steady light like a candle. In the middle of all my labors, it happened that, rummaging my things, I found a little bag, which, as I hinted before, had been filled with corn for the feeding of poultry, not for this voyage, but before, as I suppose, when the ship came from Lisbon. The little remainder of corn that had been in the bag was all devoured by the rats, and I saw nothing in the bag but husks and dust, and being willing to have the bag for some other use, I think it was to put powder in when I divided it for fear of the lightning, or some such use, I shook the husk of corn out of it on one side of the fortification under the rock. It was a little before the great rains just now mentioned that I threw the stuff away, taking no notice, and not so much as remembering that I had thrown anything there. When about a month later, or thereabouts, I saw some few stalks of something green shooting out of the ground, which I fancied might be some plant I had not seen, but I was surprised and perfectly astonished when, after a little longer time, I saw about 10 or 12 ears come out, which were perfect green barley of the same kind as our European, nay, as our English barley. It is impossible to express and astonishment and confusion of my thoughts of on this occasion. I had hitherto acted upon no religious foundation at all.